What's going on, YouTube? What is going on, man? This is Randy with the Randy Talks Mets channel. Guys, we are here to talk Mets baseball. We are we're going to get into it. We're going to get into the news about today with Clay Holmes, the big update, Jose Iglesias, the latest on him, what's going on. The Mets signed Drew Smith. We're going to get into that as well, guys. Hopefully, you guys are feeling good. I'm feeling great right now. I just want to say thank you for being on stream. Thank you for coming to the stream. What is going on, Lulu? What is going on? How we feeling? How we feeling about the New York Mets? How are we feeling? I'm feeling good right now. Listen, the Mets offseason talk stream. We're gonna talk about a few things here, but what I really want to talk about is to get started with the Mets signing Drew Smith. Yes, the Mets signed Drew Smith to a 1-year deal with a club option in 2026. It seems like the Mets, apparently Drew Smith is the longest tenured Met, which is something that, like, what? He's the longest tenured Met? That's kind of crazy, but it is what it is. Um, when it comes to the New York Mets, though, Drew Smith is not going to pitch competitively with the New York Mets in 2025. So we kind of knew that Drew Smith was hurt, and I figured he was going to come back to the Mets. I'm not really surprised that he comes back to the Mets. But yeah, the Mets signed Drew Smith. He's not going to be a part of the 2025 plans. Carlos Mendoza and David Stearns basically said that today. So it is what it is. And I want to talk about Mark Vientos. Mark Vientos was asked about the lineup, and he feels like it's going to be a really good lineup. He's focused. Apparently, he doesn't have any more blonde hair. He got just black hair now. He is focused. And it kind of is what it is. Lulu saying, I wish Iglesias the best. Listen, Jose Iglesias, to me, it's still a possibility that the guy signs with the New York Mets, right? Like, it's a possibility. Yeah, it's a possibility. And if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen, but I feel like Jose Iglesias added really a lot last year to the New York Mets, and just the spark that he gave this team was something special. So I really do like Jose Iglesias, but maybe the Mets don't bring him back. It probably they probably won't. But yeah, hopefully you guys are feeling good though. How are we feeling about the Mets right now, guys? Um, yeah, how we feeling? I'm looking at the trade news here, the latest Mets, latest MLB news. So Nolan Arenado is still a free agent. You still got Alex Bregman that's still a free agent. So I don't think the Mets are planning to sign Alex Bregman or trying to trade for Arenado. But it's just interesting to look at their free agent market and also Nolan Arenado and where he's going to end up in the trade market, because I don't know where he's going to end up. He's probably going to end up either with the Red Sox or another team. But that guy Arenado really wants to leave that team. He wants to leave the Cardinals. It seems like he just wants to go to another team, but not the Astros apparently. But I also want to get into an update that Clay Holmes basically pitched 3 innings in what's it called, in spring build up today, or whatever you want to call it. They're pitching right now. So let me see. Lulu said, I'm a little worried that we don't have enough good pitching in the starting rotation. It's a question mark after Senga. Well, to me, I feel like I get it. I understand that the pitching rotation doesn't look as strong for the New York Mets as you say, another team like the Dodgers or another team like the Braves. But what I will say is that the New York Mets, they did bring back Sean Manaea. And honestly, thank God they did, because imagine this rotation without Sean Manaea. I honestly would have hated this rotation. But the fact that the Mets made that offer to Sean Manaea and got him to come back, I really like how Sean Manaea pitched last year, because in the second half, this guy was pitching like an ace. He was pitching really, really good. So I feel personally that the 1, 2, and 3 pitchers are going to be fine. I think Senga it's all about health. I'm not worried about his performance, but his health is the big thing. Kodai Senga is going to be your ace. This guy, Kodai Senga, is going to be your ace, and it's all about health when it comes to Kodai Senga. And then you have, Sean Manaea. And Sean Manaea with the arm slot change. Yes, can he maintain that arm slot change? I'm going to say this. I feel that this change that he made, this is going to be, can he maintain it? I think he can. I really think he can. I think he did it in the second half. He was pitching really, really good. He was pitching like an ace in the second half. Where would the Mets be if it wasn't for Sean Manaea in 2024? So I really like Sean Manaea. I think that having Sean Manaea in this rotation was so important. It was so important, and I'm happy they got him back. So now you got Kodai Senga. And Kodai Senga, it depends on his health. Obviously, it depends on his health. But this guy was pitching like an ace in 2023. In 2024, he basically missed most of the year, pitched in the postseason a little bit, but that's it. Kodai Senga is going to be your X factor when it comes to the rotation. And then you got Sean Manaea. Then you got David Peterson. Now, David Peterson is a guy that I want to talk about, because David Peterson had a really good year, and it seemed like he figured it out. And I really do like David Peterson. I feel like David Peterson, years ago or whatever, they were giving him chances, but it wasn't working out. It seemed like it was the same thing with Steven Matz and David Peterson. These guys just couldn't get past their egos. They couldn't get past their confidence. And the confidence is a big, big thing in the MLB. And if you don't have confidence, you don't have anything. So that's what I really like. I really like that the New York Mets got, they got David Peterson, and it seemed like he figured it out. He figured out his confidence. And I hope that he pitches like he did in 2024 this year, because he pitched really, really good. Really good. He was one of the best pitchers for the Mets. Jonathan said, I hate this rotation, but I trust David Stearns. Now, I want to say I like that you trust David Stearns, because to me, I trust David Stearns. I think David Stearns deserves our trust. He got the Mets to go to the NLCS, so he deserves some type of trust. And listen, what I talked about, I'm going to upload a video today about Brandon Sproat and Drew Gilbert. And to me, I feel that Drew Gilbert and Brandon Sproat is going to be a big time addition to the Mets in 2025. If he can figure it out in AAA, he's going to get the chance to pitch in the major leagues, just like Christian Scott did last year. So maybe it's going to work out with the New York Mets rotation. Maybe let's say Kodai Senga is healthy. Let's say Sean Manaea performs. Let's say David Peterson is pitching the way he was pitching last year. Then the Mets have a pretty good rotation. And they have Brandon Sproat, a guy that can pitch a fastball up to 99, 100 miles per hour, has a good slider, and he's one of the biggest, the highest ceiling pitcher in their system. So when it comes to Brandon Sproat, is he going to get the call-up? I feel like there's a chance that he's going to get the call-up in the major leagues because of the Kodai Senga and the six-man rotation that you need with Kodai Senga. So I think there will be an opportunity for Brandon Sproat. And I think that the rotation has potential to be really, really good. Now, it's all a wait-and-see game when it comes to the New York Mets rotation. Obviously, there's going to be a lot of eyes on Senga, a lot of eyes on the rotation, a lot of eyes on Senga's health. And to me, Kodai Senga, he is an ace. He can pitch like an ace. His first year in the major leagues had a really, really good year with the Mets. Really good year. So I like Kodai Senga. I think his health is the key to the Mets season. I really hope that he's healthy. But the lineup for the New York Mets looks pretty good, man. I'm just looks really good. Any way you put this lineup, I think they're going to perform. I really think You should have Lindor as your leadoff hitter, Mark Vientos as your second hitter, Soto as your third, clean up Pete Alonso. That's just me. I feel like that should be the 1 to 4. But Carlos Mendoza is probably going to put the lineup a different way. He's probably going to have, what's it called? Mark Vientos probably bat like fifth or something, and Brandon Nimmo clean up. Knowing the Mets and knowing how they deal with lineups, they're probably going to have Brandon Nimmo as the cleanup hitter, Pete Alonso as the third, and Soto as the second, and Lindor as the first. To me, I really feel that Vientos should hit second. He's going to get more fastballs. It just makes more sense. So yeah, man. Let me know what you guys think, man. How are we feeling so far about the team? Because I feel like the team looks pretty good on paper. Their offense looks really good. The pitching is something that you kind of have to wait and see. It's good news that Clay Holmes got to spring training earlier to work on his craft, to work on his stuff, and apparently he's already ahead of pitchers. And that pitchers haven't even. Let's see what Jonathan said here. Jonathan said, "I want the Mets to trade Jet Williams, Sproat, Drew Gilbert for Paul Skeens." Listen, that would be a major, major trade. Major. That would be one of the biggest trades in the MLB. I think Jet Williams is a guy that's not going to happen. I don't think Paul Skeens is going to be traded from the Pirates. I think the Pirates know that Paul Skeens is something special, and I don't think that they're going to trade him. Now, they have years of control over Paul Skeens, so I don't see that trade happening, but maybe you can talk about a trade for a guy like Luis Castillo or a guy like Dylan Cease, Michael King, those type of guys. I really don't feel like Paul Skeens is going to be any time being traded, with the Pirates. So it kind of is what it is. The pitching rotation is something that David Stearns was asked about today in a press conference. And they basically asked him, how do you feel about your pitching rotation? And David Stearns said he feels, pretty okay with it. He feels like he's confident in these guys. And, obviously the health of Senga is going to be huge. But it kind of is what it is. That's going to be their pitching rotation. Now Clay Holmes and Frankie Montas are going to be guys that you really are looking at. Clay Holmes is probably going to be the biggest X factor when it comes to the pitching rotation, because we don't know what he's going to be. Like, you don't know if he's going to be a 5-inning guy, 4-inning guy, So I think when it comes to Clay Holmes, he has a really good sinker. He has a gyro slider, and he's working on a changeup, which is good. But the thing with Clay Holmes, the problem with Clay Holmes is his fastball. His fastball is not, he doesn't have that big fastball that's like 99, 100 miles per hour, 98. I think he's working on it. But I don't know if Clay Holmes is really going to be that fireballer. I just don't see it. I think he could throw 95, 94, 90, maybe 96, but I just don't see him throwing harder than that. And it's going to be hard to really get this change. Is going to be hard for Clay Holmes. This is not going to be an easy change at all. It's really not. And it seems like the Mets, they're going full out for Clay Holmes. Like, they want Clay Holmes to be their starter. And to me, I would say I would give the opportunity to a Jose Butto. That's just me. I feel like Jose Butto is a guy that should be a starter in the New York Mets. That's how I feel. When Seth Lugo wanted to start, it's like the same thing. The Jose Butto, the Seth Lugo, he's kind of like the same, the same type of thing. They want to be starters. But Jose Butto's a young guy. He's a guy that he's controllable. Actually, I think he has only one. He doesn't have any options left on his. So if the Mets option him, they kind of basically put him on waivers. And I think they want Jose Butto to be a guy that definitely is that multi-inning reliever. And I get it. I get it. You want Jose Butto to be the multi-inning reliever. But to me, I really like Jose Butto as a starter. But his control is something that's been an issue. So I completely get it. I completely get it. My top question of 2025 is who will be our second baseman. Now, this is something that he's saying, Jonathan is saying, I want Brett Beatty playing second base. Okay, so you want Brett Beatty to be your second baseman rather than an Acuna or rather than a McNeil? Is that what you're saying? Because to me, I feel like McNeil is a guy that can play multiple positions. He doesn't need to be your second baseman, all year for the New York Mets. A guy like Acuna is someone that I think is going to get the chance to be in the major leagues. It seemed like David Stearns today said that there's young guys in competition for a spot. So there's still a spot there. There's like one more spot for a young guy like an Acuna. I don't feel like Mauricio is going to get that spot because he's not even going to start. He's not even going to be in the start of spring training. He's possibly going to play games in mid May? I think it was not mid-May, mid-March. So I like Mauricio a lot. I would hope that Mauricio gets healthy and he becomes a big part of the Mets. But you don't know what's going to happen. Anything can happen. It's going to be a long season. So we'll see what happens. But I think Ronnie Mauricio, is going to be a factor in the New York Mets foundation in 2025. I think he really is. When he gets healthy, I think the Mets are going to find a way to get him playing time. Now, a guy like Acuna is a guy, I like Acuna a lot. I feel like Acuna impressed last year. He showed that he can hit a little bit. He can hit home runs. He can field the ball. He has a strong arm. So a guy like Acuna, I like Acuna a lot. I feel like I'm really hoping that Lulu said, I'm hoping for a good year for Frankie Montas. Yeah, I think Frankie Montas, like what impressed David Stearns, I guess, about Frankie Montas is that he was striking out more guys in 2024 than he has been in some time. So that's what really impressed David Stearns. And I guess that's why he wanted to have him as a starter for this team. And also, you got Frankie Montas, you got Sean Manaea, they're friends. So it kind of is what it is. But he pitched, he had like an ERA of 5, last year. So it's going to be tough. It really is, because this Frankie Montas basically has a lot of pressure because this guy was the first big free agent signing, I guess, in free agency. He in for pitching wise for the Mets, he was basically a very important signing, very important signing, because that was their first like big signing. So is Frankie Montas going to have a good year? I can hope so. I can just say that the pitching is going to be very, very important. Should the New York Mets offer Vientos an extension if he makes the All-Star team in 2025? I think Mark Vientos, if he makes the All-Star team in 2025, I don't have a problem with that at all. I think Mark Vientos is a guy that has a lot of he has a lot of potential. This guy, Mark Vientos, has a potential to hit like 40 home runs, 35 home runs. This guy how many home runs did he hit in let me see, how many home runs did he hit? Let me see. Vientos hit 27 home runs. He batted 266 for the batting average. He had 71 RBIs. 71. Now I'm going to tell you how many games he played. Let's see how many games he played. I should say it here. think I should say it here. Mark Vientos. I know he had 400 something at bats. He had 413 at bats. 413 at bats, and he had 27 home runs. I mean, it's very, very impressive. His career postseason was 327, his batting average. He had 5 home runs in the postseason. This guy, Mark Vientos, is a stud, man. I hope that he doesn't have a sophomore slump. I hope that he has a really good year. But I feel like Mark Vientos can be a guy that is going to be a star for this team. I can see him being an all-star. But the only thing that's going to be interesting to watch is that the third base position. Are other guys gonna, are other guys gonna have better numbers than him or Mark Vientos? So, but 413 at bats is very for. I mean, 27 home runs. He had 71 RBIs. Now let's go to a Lindor. See Lindor. Francisco Lindor. Francisco Lindor had 618 at bats. 618. And Mark Vientos had 413. And Lindor had 33 home runs. And Mark Vientos had 27. Now, that's what I'm saying, that if we get a full season of Mark Vientos, which we will, all health concluded, obviously, but if we get a full season, this guy has potential to hit 40 home runs. He has potential to hit more home runs than Lindor. He has a lot of power. He can hit the fastball up. He can hit the slider. He can hit the fastball inside. This guy, Mark Vientos, knows how to hit. And I don't think it was a fluke. I think that Mark Vientos figured it out. He's always been a good hitter in the minors. He just, he didn't really get the big chance in the major leagues. And he finally got the big chance in 2024, 400 something at bats, and hit 27 home runs. Mark Vientos, to me, can be an all-star in 2025. Do you want to give him an extension, though? If he becomes, I think that there's a chance that the Mets could extend him in after 2025. I don't see why not. Did you know that the PECOTA projection had the Mets winning 91 games and the Yankees winning 89 wins in 2025? The thing about the PECOTA predictions is like the PECOTA projections, they're not very on point. So I'm not gonna say that that's going to be that the Mets are going to have 91 wins or whatever. But what I will say is that the Mets have a really good team. The Mets have a really good offense. And the offense obviously is going to be very, very important. What you get out of, Francisco Alvarez, what you get out of, Jeff McNeil. Like, these are Brandon Nimmo. These are big things to watch. What is Pete Alonso going to do in 2025? Pitchers, Lulu said, the pitchers will make adjustments facing Vientos. I'm hoping he can also make adjustments. I think that he can. I think that he's a guy that can hit that fastball up. When you want to get a young guy out, you want to pitch him that fastball up. If Mark Vientos can hit that fastball, that takes what's it called? A target off the board, and he could hit the fastball inside. I think that he can hit the slider. I think Mark Vientos is going to be just fine in 2025. Just fine. He has a lot of power. He has a really good swing. And to me, the thing about Mark Vientos is that he consistently did it in the minors. He consistently did it. So I think they can make adjustments, But Mark Vientos is going to be just fine. That's how I feel. Now, this year is going to be very, very important for the New York Mets, man. This year, like, obviously, you're going to have Soto. Like, this lineup has so much potential. Because what if you get a really good year out of Francisco Alvarez? Then this lineup is going to be dangerous. This lineup is really going to be dangerous. Like, if Nimmo bounces back, has a really good year, let's talk about this. Will Alvarez' new batting swing hurt his production? Listen, so what I feel with Francisco Alvarez is his swing, to me, it was too like violent. Like, it was too trying to hit the ball out of the ballpark. Like, he was trying to hit a home run almost every single at bat. And that is something that I feel like Francisco Alvarez, he was doing in the minors, and it was just fine. But that's not going to work in the major leagues. So that's why you got to make adjustments. To me, Francisco Alvarez, and let's say this new batting swing, I don't think that it's going to hurt his production, because he hasn't really had a full season of real production. You know, he got hurt last year, and that was a big injury to his thumb, and that's a hitting injury. So it kind of sucked. It really sucked to have Francisco Alvarez hurt. But to me, I think when it comes to Alvarez's swing, I think he's going to be just fine, because this guy's a young hitter, but he is strong. He's a strong guy. He has power. So Mark Vientos is also a perfect example. Is Mark Vientos. He hits the ball hard and the ball goes out of the ballpark. He's not trying to hit a home run every single at bat. That is something special about Mark Vientos. That's what I feel Francisco Alvarez can do. He can hit the ball hard and hit it at the ballpark. So to me, I don't think that it's going to hurt his projection, but anything can happen. I just hope that he has a really good year. I hope that he becomes a better hitter. I hope that he lays off the tough pitches. I hope that he doesn't chase a lot. You know, he's a young kid, and teams are going to try to take advantage of him. Do you think Soto will work on improving his defense? Well, he better. He better work on improving his defense. Soto better work on improving his defense, because he's going to play in a hard stadium. He's going to play in Citi Field. Citi Field is not an easy stadium to play the outfield. It's not at all. And it's something that has to be said. It has to be said, because Juan Soto is not that great of a defender, but he's an amazing hitter. So what is Juan Soto? How is he going to defend in Citi Field? To me, I really felt like the Mets were going to change his position or put him at left field, but they're keeping him at right field. And I get it. It's Juan Soto, so you don't want to change his position, whatever. But to me, I don't feel that Juan Soto at right field is going to be amazing for the Mets. You looked when Keith Hernandez was announcing the games in the Subway Series, and he basically said Juan Soto was a defensive liability. So the fact that he's going, I hope that he's not going to be a defensive liability, but he's not going to play defense like a Tyrone Taylor. He's not going to play defense like a Marte. So what are you really going to get out of Juan Soto? I don't exactly know defensively, but Juan Soto defensively, I hope that they figure out a way to have him, get to the balls more. And I hope that he doesn't struggle as much in Citi Field, because it's going to be a big adjustment, because you're playing right. Juan Soto last year played right field in Yankee Stadium. Yankee Stadium is like a little league ballpark, man, compared to Citi Field. Citi Field is a really big ballpark. So what's going to happen with the New York Mets? What's going to happen with Juan Soto? To me, I feel like Juan Soto, This is going to be a huge, huge adjustment for Juan Soto. Huge. Playing right field in City Field is not easy. It's not easy at all. Juan Soto playing right field is going to be something to watch. I hope that he figures it out. Maybe they can have him play back more, and he can come on the come to the ball more. So maybe that'll help him and not have balls get hit over his head. But it's something that has to be discussed. Is he going to be a defensive liability at right field? I really hope not. I really hope he works on improving his defense, because that has been something that a lot of people are not talking about right now. Juan Soto in right field, I don't know how that's going to be in City Field, man. City Field is a lot of ground to cover. A lot of ground to cover. Can Juan Soto cover that ground? I don't know, honestly. This is why I felt before I didn't see Juan Soto being, a Met last year, but the Mets got him, man. And the Mets, they know that Juan Soto is not the greatest defender. They know that. The only reason he got that big contract was because of his bat, man. That's the only reason. And obviously, his plate discipline and what he adds. He's a clutch player. He's a home run hitter. He's a great player. He's just not a great defender. So, I mean, we'll see what happens. We will see what happens with Juan Soto. But, let's talk about Brandon Nimmo a little bit. Brandon Nimmo is going to play left field for the New York Mets. Jose Siri is going to play center. To me, Brandon Nimmo, this is going to be a very, very important year for Brandon Nimmo. He's going to have a lot of opportunities to get runs in. So, can he be, or what type of hitter is he going to be? Is he going to be a power guy? Is he going to be a guy that hits for average? I don't know exactly what type of hitter he's going to be, but Brandon Nimmo, I hope that he's figured it out. I really hope that he's figured it out, because we signed Brandon Nimmo to be an important player for the Mets going forward, and I hope that he performs. If Steve Cohen can afford Juan Soto, why can't he buy a roof for Citi Field? I don't think that he can't afford a roof for Citi Field. I just think that Steve Cohen doesn't want to do it. I don't think he wants to do it. I don't think he wants to do a roof. I really don't see. Unfortunately, I don't see the Mets having a roof in Citi Field. I really don't. I mean, I would hope that they do, because it would help a lot, but I just don't see it happening. So yeah, Pete Alonso's officially a Met. How are we feeling about Pete Alonso being a Met, man? Like, how would you have felt if the Mets didn't bring back Pete Alonso? Would you have been like disappointed, sad? Because to me, Pete Alonso in the lineup obviously is a better lineup, but I'm happy with the fact that they didn't sign him for like 5 years, 6 years. Like, I don't think that Alonso is going to be a Met next year. I feel like he's going to opt out, and the Mets are going to, go for a guy like Vladimir Guerrero or go for another guy. I just don't feel like Pete Alonso is going to be the first baseman, in 2026, 2027. I just don't see it happening. But what I will say, this year, getting Alonso was very, very important, because that lineup with Alonso looks really, really good. Really, really good. Now we will see what happens at the end of the day. But what I will say is the New York Mets have a good team. They have a good team. They do have a good team. The bullpen to me is going to be important. It's going to be important, man. Let me see. I keep hearing talk about a possible lockout in 2026 off season. Frankly, is making me nervous and it doesn't look good. Well, Lulu, you gotta think about it. When was the last lockout? Like, when was the last lockout? What was it? Was it 2020? What was it? 2020? What was it? 2021? I don't know exactly when the lockout was, but I'm not really concerned with the lockout because to me, baseball is going to be around forever. There's going to be money in baseball forever. Baseball is a sport that makes money. Baseball is a sport that's one of the most popular sports in the world. You know, maybe it's not the most popular sport like a soccer, but what I will say is baseball is going to be just fine. So I wouldn't be nervous about the offseason lockout. Like, it kind of is what it is. Like, they're going to agree on a contract. They're going to agree on a CBA. It's not like they're not going to agree. So maybe it'll take more time because I didn't like the lockout either when it happened. When was the last lockout? Let me see. When was the last MLB lockout? When was the last MLB lockout? Yeah, it was 2021. I was right. 2021. 2021. It was 2021 to 2022. The most recent baseball lockout was from December 2nd, 2021 to March 10th, 2022. Yeah, like it kind of is what it is. Like, it kind of is what it like. Baseball will come back. Baseball is going to be around. It's not like, oh, it's gonna lock out for the whole like the season and we're gonna miss the season. That's not gonna happen. Now, it could affect the offseason for sure, because if it's locked out, you're not gonna be able to sign any players. You're not gonna be able to do much. You're not even gonna be able to make trades. So with the MLB lockout or impending lockout in 2026, you know, that's not going to be great, but we've gone through it already. So, yeah, we've gone through it already. It isn't fun, but they're going to agree on a term. They're going to agree. They're going to agree on terms. You know, the owners and the players are going to agree because there's money in baseball. There's money there. But yeah, I think this is the team that the Mets go. Sonic is leaving, I guess. Sonic, have a good one. Are you leaving? Yeah, I think you're leaving. I think he's waving. Have a good one, Sonic, man. Thank you for coming to the stream. Allowing me to be a part of your day. Really appreciate it. Yeah, like this lockout, like we've gone through it before. So it kind of is what it is, right? But going back to the Mets, I feel like the bullpen, to me, the bullpen is something that is going to be really, really important for the New York Mets. Like, obviously, every bullpen is important, but this year, the bullpen is going to be very, very important. And apparently, AJ Minter, we don't know if AJ Minter is going to make the opening day roster. And that is a little concerning, but it kind of is what it is. No one can play baseball in the winter. No one can play baseball in the winter. The WBC is in 2026, right? I think the WBC is in 2026. So we will have the World Baseball Classic in 2026. At least I hope. But going back to what I was saying, AJ Minter is going to be like, they don't know if he's going to be in opening day. They don't know if he's going to be on the roster, but I think AJ Minter is going to be huge. He's going to be a big piece for this bullpen. You got Daniel Nunez coming off injury. You got Jose Budo being a reliever. To me, the bullpen has a lot of potential to be really, really good. Oh yeah, of course it was a disaster. Yeah, the last WBC was in 2023. It was a disaster. Yeah, I'm a fan of the WBC. Like, I know that Edwin Diaz got injured, and I obviously hated that, and then put the Mets in a really bad spot. But I am a fan of the WBC. I really do like the WBC because I get to see the Dominican team. I get to see the Puerto Rican team. I get to see the Japanese team. It's just so many baseball players of the MLB playing in this great event. And yeah, to me, I like it. I like it a lot. Yeah. I feel that the WBC, I get it. I understand the fact that, you know, Edwin Diaz got injured. I completely understand that. Because I honestly, I really hated when he got injured. I hated really when Ronnie Mauricio got injured playing winter ball. That's what I really, really did not like. But it kind of is what it is. Like, if these players want to play winter ball, then you kind of really can't do nothing about it. Like, the team has the ability to say no. So Brandon Nimmo basically was going to play in the WBC, but he decided not to. But Lulu said he loves watching the WBC. Yeah, the WBC to me is a very exciting event. I really like it. I really do. But yeah, man. Honestly, how are we feeling about how are we feeling about the second base situation? Because to me, second base is going to be huge in 2025 for the Mets. Is it going to be Jeff McNeil playing second base? Because Mendoza basically said Jeff McNeil is going to get a lot of opportunities. He's going to play a lot of second base, but he didn't say that was going to be his position, like, confirmed. Like, he said he's probably going to play multiple positions. So if Jeff McNeil is a versatile player and they want to play him in different spots, maybe that allows a chance for a guy like Acuna or a guy like Brad Beatty to play. Maybe. That's a really good idea. To me, I feel like I really wanted. I was thinking about this the other day, actually. A platoon situation with McNeil and Acuna. I feel like it's not a bad situation. Like, it would allow them to play like almost every day. And you would have him, like, you would have McNeil on the bench or Acuna on the bench. To me, I get Jeff McNeil wants to play every day, and it is what it is. But I like the idea of a platoon. I really do feel like that would be a good idea. Yeah, to me, I really feel like the platoon would be a good idea because it would give the chance for Acuna to play like almost every day and get reps, you know? So that's what I feel. I feel like this would be a good idea. I feel like McNeil, maybe he wants to play every day, and it kind of is what it is. I think that Acuna will play for the Mets in 2025. He will. It seems like there's going to be competition for like one more spot. They literally said it, like David Stearns literally said it today, that there's going to be a spot for like one more player, a young player. So maybe Beatty or Acuna can take that opportunity. To me, Brett Beatty's time, I don't want to give up on the kid, but it's like you've had a lot of chances, man. You've had chances, and it hasn't worked out. It hasn't. And if he doesn't change something, then nothing will change. Now, Sonic said, your thoughts on the Mets' new road gray blue uniforms? Yeah, I feel like the blue gray uniforms, you know, it, I don't know if I'm the biggest fan of it. But yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of those uniforms, but I want to see how it looks like, when obviously when they play real baseball. I want to see how it really looks like on the players. But at first glance, I wasn't like, "Oh, these uniforms are amazing." Like, "Wow, these uniforms are really awesome." I do like the fact that there's like New York in the middle. So I really like that. But you kind of don't know what's going to happen. You don't know how the uniforms are really going to look like until you really see them. So we'll see. But from first glance, I'm just not the biggest fan of the uniforms. I'm not the biggest fan. But going back to second base, why not platoon McNeil and Acuna? Because it would give chances to Acuna, and it would give McNeil obviously chances as well. I think when you have a player like Acuna, why not platoon McNeil? Why not? I really feel like they can. McNeil is a guy that's a versatile player. He can play multiple positions. So McNeil can play the outfield. He can, give Brandon Nimmo a day off. He can play, multiple positions. I don't think that he has to be your second baseman for 150 games. I don't think that has to be the case. Now, Brandon Nimmo coming off the injury and what he's battling, maybe he's not going to play a lot of games in 2025. Who knows? I don't know. It's going to be it's not an easy injury to, deal with. Carlos Correa had that injury. He has that injury, and he has to deal with that like every day. So, yeah. And Carlos Correa, he had time that he missed on the IL. So I don't want Brandon Nimmo to miss any time. But the good news is the Mets expect Brandon Nimmo to play in opening day. That is really good news for the Mets. That is really good news. So we will see. Sonic said, speaking of Nimmo, he's been in the blue and orange for almost 10 years. Yeah, he has. And I think he's going to retire a Met. He's probably going to retire as a Met. I think Brandon Nimmo really loves this organization, and the Mets really love him. And I think he's going to be a Met his whole career. I really do. Um, Maybe there's a chance that Brandon Nimmo gets traded like 4 or 5 years from now. I don't know, but I think Brandon Nimmo is going to probably be a Met for his whole career. And I'm not surprised. Like I really thought when Brandon Nimmo and Conforto were both like with the Mets, I thought Conforto was gonna be the guy to be like staying with the Mets for his whole career. But Brandon Nimmo, he's the guy. He's the guy. So, but yeah, man. I'm feeling good about the team though. I'm feeling good about the team. I feel that, you know, the Mets, they have to win the division. I don't want this wild card thing. No, I want the Mets to win the division. I don't want to go through, oh my God, we got to go through the wild card. We got to go through. No, I want the Mets to win the division. Okay? The New York Mets need to win the division in 2025. This is the year for the Mets to win the division. I don't want the Braves to beat us. The Braves better not freaking beat us, man. We have a better team than the Braves. I feel that way. I really feel that way. I feel like we have a better team than the Braves. I really hope that we win the division because if we do, we are good. Looking forward to seeing and hearing on the road on the radio some good spring training games. Yeah, I'm definitely. Jonathan said the Phillies pitching is scary. Yeah, I know. I get it. I get it. The Phillies pitching is scary. The Braves are good. The Mets. I mean, we don't know how it's gonna look. You know, we don't know how it's gonna be. But the Mets haven't won, like Sonic said, the Mets haven't won the NL East since 2015. We came so freaking close in 2022. We came like this. We had to win one game in Atlanta Stadium, and we couldn't do it. We couldn't do it. So yeah, man. 2022, man. I wish the Mets would have won one game, man. They would have won the division, man. They would have won the freaking division. Oh my God. They couldn't win a game with they couldn't win one game in Atlanta Stadium with Jacob DeGrom, Max Scherzer, Chris Bassett. It's like, bro. Yeah, Jonathan said, but we clinched in Atlanta last year. Yeah, but we didn't win the division. We didn't win the division. The Mets haven't won the division since 2015. This is the year to win the division. Juan Soto, the first year you get Juan Soto should be the year you win the division. No ifs or buts about it. I don't want to hear this wild card. Oh, the Mets are going to possibly make the wild card. No. You got one of the best players in the game. There is high expectations now. High expectations. The Mets are better. They better be expected to win the division. The division. I don't want to hear this wild card. No. The Mets better win the division. And if they don't win the division, that is going to be a big disappointment. It's going to be a big disappointment. So I really hope that the Mets win the division. Prediction: Juan Soto will beat Barry Bonds' home run record in 2025. What is his record? What is Barry Bonds' record? What was his record? Like 50 something home runs, 60 home runs? Oh my God, that's not happening. 71 home runs? 72? 70? That is not happening. That's not happening. I feel like the Mets have a good team on paper. Spring training is going to be interesting to watch these guys. I hope that Ronnie Mauricio gets healthy. I hope that Brandon Sproul has a really good spring. But man, we will see what happens. We will see what happens. Yeah, of course, it's impossible. That's not going to happen. He's not going to hit 71 home runs. Juan Soto's not going to break that record. Are the Mets going to sign? Are the Mets going to sign Jose Iglesias? I honestly don't know. I think there's a chance. There's like a chance that Jose Iglesias comes back. But we'll see at the end of the day. We will see. I really think Jose Iglesias added so much to the team in 2024. He added so much to the team. So, man, we will see, man. We will see. But guys, we got 3 more minutes on stream. We got 3 more minutes. So, any last comments, questions, concerns? Hasta la vista, Candelita. Yeah, it probably won't happen. It probably won't happen. But he was such an important player for the Mets in 2024. I hope that Acuna really gets the chance to play second base. Honestly, I really hope that Ronnie Mauricio gets the chance. But I don't know if he's going to get the chance. I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do with all these young guys, man. I feel like the bench is probably going to be Luis Torrens, Tyrone Taylor, Luis Torrens, Tyrone Taylor. How many bench players do you need in the MLB? How many bench players do you usually have? Like 3? 4? 4? I mean, so if you have 4 bench players, Luis Torrens is going to be the first one, Tyrone Taylor. And then you got, if you have 4 spots, then I don't know who's the 4. Who's the 4? Who's the 4 bench players for the Mets? Torrens, Taylor, Beatty, and McNeil. Not only were the Met fans were family here, Yes, we are. Lulu said, I love Ronnie, but I think he'll come up mid-season. Yeah, I love Ronnie too, man. Ronnie Mauricio is going to be such a special player for this team. I truly can't wait. So Jonathan said Luis Torrens, Taylor, Beatty, and McNeil. So Acuna is going to play second. Oh, I forgot. I forgot Marte is going to be a bench player. So you're okay. So you're going to have Luis Torrens, Tyrone Taylor, Marte. Because Marte is going to be on the bench when he doesn't DH. So those are three like probably guaranteed players. Jonathan says I don't think Marte and Taylor can exist on the same team. Why not? Marte, I think they're going to use him as like a DH. So I don't think that he's going to be like an outfielder most of the time. I think he's going to be a DH and they're going to try to keep him healthy. Now, Tyrone Taylor is going to be your backup outfielder. He's going to be your backup outfielder for sure. So your bench players are probably going to be Luis Torrens, Tyrone Taylor, Marte, and Acuna or Beatty. Those are going to be your four players. Do you guys think that Joey Meneses makes it? Because the Mets did sign him. So maybe Joey Meneses could be a bench bat. Jonathan said Beatty can't play shortstop. No, Beatty can't play shortstop, but who was a guy that played shortstop last year for the Mets? Jose Iglesias? Who was the guy that was the backup shortstop for the Mets in 2024? No, before Acuna. Don't even mention Acuna. Before Acuna. Who was the backup? Who was the backup shortstop for the Mets in 2024? That was before Acuna. Before Acuna came up. Who was the backup guy? Iglesias? Iglesias played shortstop? Did he? Did he Iglesias play shortstop? Because he played a lot of games at third base in like in the last inning. Yeah, that's interesting. Well, apparently Nick Madrigal can't play shortstop, but the Mets want him to, or they're gonna try to make him. They're gonna try to get Nick Madrigal to play some shortstop. Yeah, Iglesias was a shortstop in the Rockies. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, man. I'm gonna get out of here, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed the stream. About to eat some dinner and stuff. Um, Yeah, man. Have a good one. Thank you for coming out to the stream, making me a part of your day. Really appreciate it. You guys are awesome always. And yeah, man. Have a good one, man. Enjoy your what's it called? What's today? Enjoy your Wednesday. Yeah. Thank you. Let's go Mets.